Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. I was going to go out this morning, late morning, and pull the cards out of my cameras for the second pull, but it's raining still, and I'm going to wait till it stops. But in the meantime, I thought it would be fun to show you guys the biggest jump in antler size that I've ever seen on a deer that I was hunting or was familiar with. You know, we talk about age, we talk about genetics. I'm sure it gets to be kind of annoying for people who, you know, don't really have the ability to, you know, to make a difference on either one of those. But this is one of those stories that just shows you once in a while that you can catch lightning in a bottle, and why it makes a difference. Because just like there was a Shaquille O'Neal, and at one point he was in 7th grade, there are deer like this. And at one point they were young, and as long as they get to be, you know, reach maturity, it's amazing what some of them can produce. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail App, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Releases, XO Broadheads, Exact Sights, and Hoyt. So this deer was shot in 2000 by my friend Larry Zock. He's a wildlife artist, very good at it. I've got a whole bunch of his paintings. In fact, I'll show you a couple of them real quick here. Most of them are at home, they're not here at the farm. But anyway, this was a buck that I saw him twice in 1999. And you know, I was 100% sure at that time that he was a 3-year-old, and I really think that he was. I mean, his body size, you know, was pretty streamlined. All the stuff we've been talking about, you know, with how to age deer from trail camera photos or on the hoof. He was a 3-year-old in my mind. And I really had to put my hands in my pockets when I saw him coming, because I was afraid if I didn't, I'd snap my release on the string and shoot this deer. I mean, he looked that good, but you could tell from his body that he was just too young. Well, I let him go. I didn't draw a tag the next year because we'd moved to Michigan. We lived in Michigan for 3 years, from 2000 through 2002. And so I didn't get to hunt the 2000 season in Iowa, but my friend Larry Zock was hunting that same deer, and he killed him in late October, I think on a scrape, not too far from where I'd seen him the year before. The deer, I guessed him at gross 170, probably as a 3-year-old. The deer grossed 245, I think, as a 4-year-old when Larry killed him, and that was with a 7-inch plus tine broke off. So here's a buck that would have grossed 250. He would have put on 80 gross inches from 3 to 4. And that's obviously not very common, but it does show that sometimes the genetics are just unbelievable. And the only way you get to find out is if you have the opportunity to let them get that old. You know, and Larry considered passing the deer up in 2000. And, you know, everybody that knew the deer and knew Larry said, no, you've got to shoot this deer, because nobody else is passing him up, and other people hunted that area and that property. So Larry did go ahead and shoot the deer. But can you imagine what that deer would have looked like as a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old? To grow 250 plus gross inches as a 4-year-old is pretty amazing. So anyway, the footage that I've shown came off Larry's YouTube channel. So if you do a search on YouTube under Zock Wildlife Art or Larry Zock, you can find his channel, and there's some other pretty cool stuff on there too. But anyway, congrats Larry on shooting this deer. It was the state record for a little while for non-typical in Iowa. And this is a really side note, but it's kind of funny. The state record got broken in 2000 by Larry, which was never officially scored, I don't think. But, you know, I think he was, I can't remember, but anyway, he was big enough to be the state record. But then that record was broken again before the end of the season. So Larry broke it on a farm that I had hunted, and then it was broken by another guy up in northeast Iowa, a guy that I knew, on a farm that I'd also hunted. So that was pretty crazy that the non-typical state record was broken and then rebroken by people that I knew on farms that I'd hunted. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, that was a side note. The point is, it's a giant deer, and it does show that occasionally you're going to get those freakish genetics, and you only find out by letting those deer get old enough to express them. Well, I appreciate you joining me. I'll be back again soon. The rain is stopping now. I do see blue sky, so I'm going to get out and pull the cards out of my cameras and show you what I find. So thanks for joining me. Check back soon for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails.